Welcome to another episode of the Taiwanology podcast. This is your host, Kwangyin Liu from Taipei's Commonwealth Magazine. By now, most people already know about the crucial role that semiconductor chips play in our everyday lives. Our iPhones, our Nintendo Switches, even our washing machines are powered by these microchips. So, listeners of this show or readers who follow Commonwealth Magazine's reporting would also know that more than 90% of the world's most advanced chips are actually produced here in Taiwan by one company, TSMC. In case you don't know what that is, it's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, 台积电, arguably the most important company in Taiwan. Such concentration is considered somehow risky for a lot of TSMC's largest customers like Apple and the largest car manufacturers. So over the past few years, the company has started to set up chip manufacturing facilities in the US, in Arizona, Japan in Kumamoto Prefecture, and in Germany, in Dresden. We all know that the chip manufacturing is a capital-intensive business. But the real key here, in my opinion, is talent. A very crucial question one has to ask is, hundreds, if not thousands, of highly skilled engineers are going to be required for these fabs to work smoothly over the next few years. Do these countries have enough talent? Well, I might be staring at one of them. Our guest today is one of the participants of the 2024 Semiconductor Talent Incubation Program Taiwan. It is a program put together by TSMC, National Taiwan University, and the government of Saxony in Germany, where Dresden is located. So his name is Max. He is among the first batch of 30 students from Germany that started the program about half a year ago. They completed courses at National Taiwan University and were recently transferred to the TSMC Newcomer Training Center in central Taiwan. So this is at the time of recording, but at the time of when this podcast episode is online, they might be back to Germany already. My questions would include, why did they come to Taiwan? What have they learned? And what are they planning to do when they return to Germany? So welcome to the studio, Max.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, thank you for making the trip on a Saturday. Yeah, I know that your days must be really busy at the training center.
Yes, they are. So we have 8 hours of training every day.
So, Max, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, how old are you, and why did you choose to come to Taiwan?
So I'm currently 22 years old. I was born in Dresden and now I study electrical engineering in Dresden. And I chose to come to Taiwan because I think this is a very great opportunity to boost my knowledge in semiconductors and also advance my career, of course.
Right. You make it sound like it's so a matter of fact, but let's go back a few years. Why did you choose to study microchips? How did you come to that?
Well, I've always had an interest in what's inside of the electronics we use in our daily life. So after I was finished with high school, I didn't quite know what to do, but I knew I was always interested in those kind of things and thought, okay, just pick the hardest thing you can still manage and just go with it. And I didn't regret my decision anytime, I think, during my studies. And I'm very happy that I went that route.
So were you one of those kids who would take apart a machine to look at the electrical wiring, how it works?
Not too much, but a little bit, yeah, especially with computers. I usually just went the IT route and took apart the OS on the computer and everything.
So when we were chatting, you said that you were actually training to become an electrician. So how did you go from there to chips?
So electrician was the first student job basically that I got when I came fresh out of high school because I tried to apply with lots of companies, and they gave me a job, they gave me something to do, and they explained in very great detail to me what they do, how to do it, and everything like that. So that was the first contact I had with the great branch of electrical engineering. But as I progressed through my studies, I noticed that those tiny chips are actually even more interesting just in their complexity and all the steps that are needed to create them and the way they run the world. So I had to reorient a bit and went that route. And once again, I didn't regret it at any point because it's so interesting.
Right. So how did you know about the TSMC training program and why did you want to apply?
So the program was initially come up with, I think, 1 year before it actually started. So at that time, it was just, well, would you be interested in a hypothetical program that would send students to Taiwan? So I signed up for that. And then there was a longer period of nothing. And at some point, there was, okay, we're sending you in spring. Let's go.
That's it.
That's it. So then they made an Ausschreibung, an application, yeah. And there were actually a lot of applicants considering the fast time frame, the short time frame that was between applying and
Right.
actually going. So I'm very glad I made the application and got in.
But why did you make the application? Why were you so interested in coming to Taiwan?
I think it's one of the greatest opportunities that you can get. TSMC really went into the public eye during COVID. So we all got to know, okay, this is the largest chip maker in the world. They have got what it takes to make those advanced chips. And so to me, it became a little bit of a dream, to go to this highly, highly advanced manufacturing plant and actually look at how the chips are made. Because, this is a very secretive industry. They don't just let everyone into the fab. So when I saw that there would be a practical training part with TSMC, I basically had to apply.
Right. So it's like you have studied a lifetime of space technology and now you have a chance to go to NASA.
Basically.
Something like that. That's
basically.
great. And what did you have to do to get the spot? What was the application process like? Was there a lot of testing or interviews?
It was mostly about the previous merits you had, so previous courses you took in semiconductors, previous work experience in semiconductors, which I didn't have too much of, but I had some cultural experience in Taiwan, which I think helped me a lot as well. So you basically had to send all the merits you had in, and they would then decide on a first batch, then verify it with all the stakeholders, and
Right.
then
So your scores, basically.
yeah, basically our
Okay.
scores and previous
I see.
experience.
Right. And before coming onto the training program, what did you imagine the life to be like in Taiwan?
So I got some idea from Taiwanese friends who told me a lot about what life would be like in Taiwan.
What did they tell you?
They mostly focused on food and convenience, which is something that is very different between Taiwan and Germany, because in Taiwan, at any corner, at any time, you can get something to eat. And so when I first came to Taiwan, it was 2022. COVID was still ongoing. So
yeah, you came to Taiwan 2022. There was still COVID. And was there any culture shock on your side?
there was a lot of culture shock, especially in the way that they handled COVID. And also when I first arrived in Taiwan, the place I stayed, because I didn't stay in Taipei center, but in Sanchong.
Sanchong, so
yeah,
that's outskirts.
Sanchong, the outskirts of New Taipei City, basically. So first of all, when I came to Taiwan, I had to stay in the quarantine hotel. So something...
For 14 days.
When I came, it was 4 days plus 4
okay.
days in the... Yeah, luckily.
Okay, not the worst time.
Not the worst one, yes. So what was amazing to me is how easily they were able to handle it. You had a line bot that you just had to report your temperature to every day, and you had someone you can ask at any time. And if you've ever gone through German bureaucracy using fax, pen and paper, and physical mail,
Yeah.
that's something that's
the German way.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
we're all very familiar with and love dearly.
yeah. So once I completed that part, I was amazed with the efficiency of all those processes. And then I got out and got to go to Sanjong, where we stayed for that time. And the culture shock to me was how open everybody was. So most people in Sanjong don't see foreigners too often. So everybody was very, very friendly and very, very warm. And if I went out on a Sunday, there would be random people to greet me or invite me to just eat with them or take pictures.
That's so unfair. I don't get that. None of us get that. Okay.
It was very interesting.
So that was a positive culture shock.
Yeah, a very positive culture
Right.
shock, as well as just the amazing quality and quantity of food.
Right. But were you surprised by some things, like how things were not done properly, or like anything that appeared strange to you?
I think the first and very harsh negative culture shock was that there was no sidewalks anywhere in Taichung. So I was just with all my bags walking on the road, and the motorbikes just rushing past me. That was an interesting experience. I got used to that very, very quickly, but it was okay. That's how you do it here, I guess.
Yeah, walking.
Also, taking your trash out directly to the car, that was interesting. The
garbage trucks.
Yeah, the garbage trucks that play music, and if you miss it, well, you missed it.
Right. Yeah. With the music so loud, it's pretty hard to miss. Right. But walking it really leaves something to be desired, I think. Yeah. But right. So it looks like you are adjusting to the life pretty well here. And let's talk about the chip manufacturing industry. So back in Germany, what is the chip industry like? Who are the major players?
So in Germany, I think the major players are also the ones that will be involved in the ESMC joint venture. So Infineon, Bosch. Also, there's Global Foundries, which also have a foundry in Dresden, but they're not involved in ESMC. But I had some of my colleagues from studying work at Global Foundries as well. So it's a very broad and diverse industry in Germany, and I hope that TSMC will brighten up this industry even more.
Right. So what is your experience like studying in NTU? I understand that you took a few months of courses at NTU, right? What did you do?
So for the first cohort, we had 3 choices, which were modules, some of which were modules that we took in undergrad. So I decided to go with the AI route. So we took a course in operations management, which for those who do not know is how you assign resources at a factory, or how you assign people to tasks. So that was very interesting and very new to me.
So it's like management.
Yeah, it was management, basically. But it had a lot of mathematical backgrounds, so I got to adapt to it pretty quickly because of that. And then we had AI and data science, which were both computer science courses, but are very, very useful, especially if you're trying to detect something on a wafer, for example, if we're going to transfer it to the industry, And those courses really, really helped me. I think they were very valuable and pretty well taught. And also the teachers and teaching assistants were very forthcoming and just adapting to us Germans being there, because that was a new thing for them as well.
Right. I see. Was there any culture shock on the teacher side? Like, so the reason I ask is because I also graduated from NTU, and Taiwanese university students, we get a bad rap because most of us are pretty passive. We don't really ask questions. We're really quiet. But when it comes to the German students, were you like more outspoken and were the teachers shocked?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, we tend to ask a lot of questions. Our cohort even more than the usual German students, so that made an even bigger culture shock for our teachers. But I think they got used to it very, very well and handled it in a good way. And also something that was interesting that we discovered only later is that Taiwanese teachers, when you raise your hand, they will just interrupt themselves and let you ask your questions. And in Germany, it's once you start losing the teacher, you slowly start raising your hand, thinking about what you want to ask and where you actually lost your teacher. So if they interrupt themselves and just go, here you go, most of the time you're not even finished formulating your question because you just expect them to keep making their point. And
Right. So it's a different game in class compared to Germany. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, Max will talk about his experience in the TSMC training center. Welcome back to Taiwanology. I'm your host, Kwangyin Liu from Taiwan's Commonwealth Magazine. In our studio today is Max Paulenz. He is one of the 30 German students who are training in Taiwan's TSMC to become the next generation of chip manufacturing engineers. So I believe you have already spent a few weeks in Taichung, and tell us what this newcomer training center is.
So the Newcomer Training Center is a facility that TSMC built up in order to train their new employees from Taiwan as well as from abroad. So I think it was built pretty recently, 2021, 2020.
Maybe just 2-3 years ago, something like that.
2-3 years ago. So they converted an office building into this training center where they have all those machines from different process nodes, different fabs, where the new trainees can get hands-on experience. So they have windows built into the machines so you can see what the robots and the chambers are doing. They have basic process gases wired up to them so you can do a mock-up process of certain steps in the fab and just get a feel for the process and also the parameters that it takes to do those processes.
Right. So that's where you learn the essential skills of a fab, I guess. Right. Is there an EUV machine there?
I'm actually not sure because we were assigned to different groups and I got the etching group, so I could tell you a lot about etching, but I'm not sure if they have an EUV machine.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. The EUV machine, I saw one in Belgium when I visited the IMEC center in Leuven, and it was a massive machine, like a bus. So I guess if there's one in the newcomer training center, you won't miss it, and you'll be really impressed when you see it and see in operation. And what was the training programs like in the newcomer training center?
So in the beginning, we had a basic curriculum. We had basic classes on the process of making a chip from a wafer. So we took those classes as a full group with all the 30 students. And in the beginning, they had a fixed curriculum. And some of us wanted it to go a bit faster, so we did some feedback. We tried to adapt very well to the Taiwanese feedback culture and gave some feedback. And something that I'm really, really impressed with is how fast TSMC adapted to our feedback. Because one day we gave feedback and the next day everything that we mentioned, that the biggest part of us mentioned, was completely fixed. He said, okay, originally we were not going to talk about this in that much detail, but now that you asked for it, we will do it. We will show you because we care about you. And I really, really like that. I'm so impressed.
That's a positive loop.
Yeah, it is.
But what's the Taiwanese feedback culture like, and how is the German feedback culture like? What's different between these?
So in Germany, from what I've experienced, it is way more direct. It's okay, I've made a mistake or you have made a mistake. Here's how we fix it. That's, I didn't like what you did there. You just say it
Whoa.
directly. I didn't like that. Let's do it differently the next time.
Right. Okay.
And at least what we were told during our intercultural training, both at NTU and also TSMC, is that in Taiwan you say, okay, I like this aspect. Let's see more of that. And maybe we can also incorporate X and Y. But overall, I really, really liked the thing you did in the first place. And it worked for us. So we just used those, it's called the sandwich method. So you take two positive things and one negative thing, and you put the negative thing inside the positive things and deliver it in that way. And for us, it worked really, really well. We just all used this method, and everybody knew what we were talking about, what we wanted. And as I said, the next day we got it.
Right. So why do you think that Germans are used to a more direct style of communication? How has that always worked for you?
It's a tough question because, as you said, I started in construction. So I was just used to that tone, and
Okay.
it's how I started.
Always very direct.
Yeah, it
And
was always like that.
yeah, so very matter of fact and no hard feelings.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, right. So I guess what you mentioned about the intercultural communication training, I think that's actually more important than any knowledge or engineering training, because that's essentially how people can work together. Right. So now that you have been in Taiwan for about a year, and you have spent some time in Taipei, New Taipei, and Taichung, how have your expectations changed compared to before you came here?
Do you mean expectations in terms of life in Taiwan or expectations in terms of career development?
I would say more career and training, yeah, work-wise.
Mm, I don't think my expectations have changed too much. I was always hoping to get very fast hands-on training, very compact, very efficient. And so that's what our group is always asking for. And this is what they are trying to give us, because they will also profit
Right.
if we do it in the most
But
efficient
how
way.
about life in general?
Life in general, I really, really got to value the convenience in life. The convenience you get, especially in Taipei, if you have all those public transport possibilities, also the possibility to just decide, okay, today I want to go snorkeling, today I want to go hiking, and you can reach every destination within an hour. And when you come back at maybe 10 p.m., you can still get some food anywhere you want. So this is something I will miss a lot in Germany.
Well, that's also why a lot of people just find it so easy to live in Taiwan. That's really something that Germany doesn't have, even in Berlin.
Yeah, even in Berlin, right?
Yeah, it's true. And so I can't help but remember that a few years back, there were some other people training at TSMC that were not from Germany. Some of them were from the US. And I remember at the time, some trainees, they openly complained about the rigorous work culture at TSMC, for example, long hours and um, pointless meetings, something like that. There was a lot of open criticism. So, what do you think about this criticism? What was your experience like?
So the thing is, I cannot tell you a lot about how it is in the actual fab for actual employees, because up until now we have only been in NTC, so the Newcomer Training Center. But what I can tell you about NTC is that we have a fixed schedule. We have 8 hours of classes a day, and then classes are over and you get to go back to your dorm and do with your day what you want. Same with the weekend. So that's what I experienced at the Newcomer Training Center. So in the next 2 weeks, we will be transferring to Fab 15A. So maybe I will get a different image, but that's as much as I can tell you right now.
Right. Fab 15 is in Taichung.
Yes, Fab 15A and B.
15A and B. And that's what kind of node is that?
That should be the 28 nanometer node. So Fab 15 is said to be the mother fab of the one they are building in Dresden.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, that's as far as I can tell. I can,
reveal.
not really reveal. It's just every information that I
that's
might give you
available.
can be wrong, and it's all available on the net.
Right. That's true. So what would you like to accomplish after this program? So, like, for example, what would you like to do at ESMC back in Dresden?
So for me, I would really like to be an integration engineer. So what the integration engineer does, he is talking to the customer. What does the customer want? What does the customer need? Do we need high power efficiency? Do we need very high performance? And then find the right node for the customer, so the right process. And also maybe tweak the process for the customer in certain ways that might be important for the design that is going to be shipped.
Good. I think being among the first batch of German students who came to Taiwan to train, you are really like the ambassadors and the pioneers. And what's your message to, for example, German or American students out there who want to train to, for example, work at the chip industry or for TSMC?
I think you should just get in. You should just try it. You should watch all the videos that are available on YouTube, such as Asianometry or Yield.
And this one?
Yeah, also this one. Just listen to the podcast. And I think in recent years, there's been so much material that is available to get into the chip industry, to get to know all those processes and also those advanced processes, which I'm always amazed to see that there are videos with such a high production quality out there. So I think right now it's easier than ever to get in. So I just encourage everyone that has even the slightest interest to just try it.
Good. So we hope to see you go to great places in the chip industry. I think we really need more young talent like you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max, for coming to the studio today. That wraps up today's episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, please take a moment to leave a review or shoot us an email. To read more in-depth reports on Taiwan's chip industry and how TSMC got where it is today, check out Commonwealth English website. Our next episode will be available August 27th. This show is produced by Weiru Wang and edited by Billy Wu. I'm your host, Kwangyin Liu. Follow Taiwanology wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.